A world can change in one morning, one strike, one claim, one retaliation. Today, major news outlets reported a joint U.S.-Israel strike on Iran and a claim that Iran's supreme leader was killed. Then came retaliation. And here's the question nobody can avoid. When nations use deadly power, what does God demand of the human heart? Stay with me, because the Torah, the Gospel, and the Quran all warn about the same trap, the spiral. Here's what's being reported plain and simple. Reuters reports that the United States and Israel launched strikes on Iran. Israel says Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, was killed. Iran condemned the attack and retaliated against U.S. and allied targets, according to Reuters. At the same time, the Associated Press reported that Israeli officials said he was dead, but there was no confirmation from the U.S. or Iran at that time. Iran International says it can confirm his death. So what does that mean for the world? It means fear rises fast, markets shake, security alerts increase, and ordinary families on all sides hold their breath. And here's the hard truth. When leaders fight, civilians often bleed. So now we zoom out past politics into something older. What does faith say when the world feels like it's tipping? Judaism does not pretend conflict is rare, but it insists that peace is holy. Isaiah 2-4 says, "He shall judge between the nations, and shall decide disputes for many peoples. And they shall beat their swords into plowshares, and their spears into pruning hooks. Nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they learn war anymore." And Proverbs 3:17 says about wisdom, "Her ways are ways of pleasantness, and all her paths are peace." From a Jewish lens, the point of strength is not to dominate. It is to protect life and pursue peace. When leaders choose escalation, Judaism asks, are we moving toward peace or training ourselves for endless war? Christian teaching is direct about the heart during conflict. Matthew 5-9 says, "Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called sons of God." And Romans 12:21 says, "Do not be overcome by evil, but overcome evil with good." Christianity doesn't call people to be passive. It calls them to be wise and clean-hearted. Because vengeance feels powerful, but it usually multiplies grief. In a moment like this, Christianity asks leaders and citizens, will you be consumed by the cycle, or courageous enough to stop feeding it? Islam speaks with a similar tension. Defend justice, but do not lose mercy. Islam recognizes conflict, but it warns against transgression and commands restraint. Quran 8-61 says, "And if they incline to peace, then incline to it and rely upon Allah. Indeed, it is He who is the hearing, the knowing." And Quran 5:32 says, "Whoever kills a soul unless for a soul or for corruption done in the land, it is as if he had slain mankind entirely. And whoever saves one, it is as if he had saved mankind entirely." From an Islamic lens, power is never a free pass. The point is to protect life, limit harm, and return to peace as soon as possible. Islam asks, are actions being taken with discipline and restraint, or with anger that spreads suffering? Now look at what all three faiths share. Judaism says, peace is the direction of wisdom. Christianity says, blessed are the peacemakers, break the cycle. Islam says, if peace is offered, lean toward it. Life is sacred. Different scriptures, same warning. The spiral is real. Strike, retaliation, more retaliation, harder hearts, more funerals. And faith doesn't just speak to leaders. It speaks to all of us. Because war is fought with weapons, but it is fueled by fear, pride, humiliation, and hate. So here's the question. If God sees every child, every parent, every frightened neighbor, what would God want most right now? Not bigger headlines, not louder speeches. Wisdom, restraint, protection of life. A path back from the edge. Here's the takeaway. Faith doesn't ask us to ignore danger. It asks us not to worship violence. In moments like this, the sacred test is simple. Will power be guided by conscience? Will fear be guided by wisdom? Will grief be guided by mercy? And here's the repeatable call to thought. Use this in comments. May our leaders have restraint, and may our hearts refuse hate. If you want peace, share this. If you're scared, comment what you're praying for. And if you're angry, breathe before you speak, because the spiral feeds on our worst instincts. Faith, Torah, Gospel, and Quran keep saying the same thing. The holy work is to protect life and turn back from the edge.